Hello, my name is Martin and welcome back to another video. So we're back home in the heartland. We're here just outside Rochdale, just outside Manchester. Strange things on the moors. Well, old mine workings, to be honest. I never knew there was old mine workings up here. Somewhere around here, I think just over the hill behind me, was the was a colliery called Tonsil Colliery. And there's some old shafts here that I never knew existed. So I'm stood right by one now and I'm going to give you an aerial view of it. So we're going to investigate some of these old mine workings. Now we're going to stay safe, you'll see what we do, but definitely worth a look. So under northern grey skies, at the foot of the Pennine hills, you'll see our curious little stone wall with an indentation in the middle of it, and its innocence belies the danger it hides. So you can see we've just flown over. This is an old shaft surrounded by an old dry stone wall. In the middle there, down there, we think there's like a little square. We've actually just thrown a brick and it bounced, so we think there's just boards over this old shaft. So I'm not going on the other side of this dry stone wall that I'm stood on, as you can see. So incredible that these things are still here, absolutely amazing, but so dangerous if you didn't know what they were. So there you go, you can just see the indentation in the middle there where there's kind of a sod that's been lifted. Not a lot to see at this one, but we think there's boards underneath that grass that are covering a shaft. There's no way we're walking out there, and if you see this kind of thing, be wary of the danger. But let's just take a look at the map. Okay, so this is the old Ordnance Survey map of 1888. Now you'll see the colliery there on the left, and depending on what source you read, I think it was a drift mine, although I can't be sure about that, but you'll see it is kind of on a hillside if you look at the contour lines. The shaft we're at now is where the red arrow is, in the middle of a field. But you'll see further to the right there's another shaft there where the blue arrow is, and that's where we're going to go to now, and that's our shaft of interest because there's a little bit more access to that one. Right, so we'll look down into the shaft with the drone. You're not going to see more than what we've already seen, to be honest with you, but we'll see. We'll exploit all avenues, shall we? Right, so there you go. When I think about all the old mine shafts I've seen that have been capped off with concrete and have the little pyramid on top, and this thing, as we get closer, you'll see there's a bit of old wire mesh and some old rotten wooden boards over it. And the circumference of the shaft is obviously much wider than that. Incredibly dangerous. So what do we know about Tonsil Colliery? Well, according to the Northern Mine Research Society, it was sunk between 1861 and 1864 by Richard and William Stott, and they worked the Lower Mountain Mine. They worked until the late 1870s when the colliery appears to have closed. It then says that Platt Brothers and Company reopened Tonsil between 1881 and 1884, and it was worked until it was inundated, and I presume that means inundated with water, until the 27th of May 1887. They tried to recover it, but between 1895 and 1905, Tonsil was described as discontinued. This picture was taken in 1964 when the colliery stood derelict. The chimney has since been pulled down. Now, if you're anything like me, an old mine shaft like that, although it's really dangerous, is just full of intrigue for me, so we did our best to look into it. We got the zoom on the camera and we shone the torch into it, and you can just see the walls of the shaft there. Absolutely fascinating stuff, but we're going to try another way to have a look into it with our device. So this is going to crawl down. This has been designed to crawl down the side of the shaft. If you just lower a GoPro down there, it will spin on the string. It will be the perfect solution here, but it will just spin and the footage is no good. So what you need is something that will go down the shaft, crawl down the side of the shaft on wheels, to stop that spinning action. You'll see I've mounted a GoPro on it. We've got a light there, light there, light there, and these lights are quite bright. I'll just show you. So there you go, that's all the lights on it, and you'll see it lights up quite bright. They're not at the fullest brightness level yet. I don't want to waste the battery just yet. But the point of the lights is obviously it's dark in there, and the GoPro isn't very good in the dark. So this crawling down the side of the shaft, and the fact that it's got lights on it and a camera, it's a combined optical crawler. I call it cock rover.
Now my right hand rope is going to go just through from right to left, and then bring that end back down towards the main post here.
If you want to fix a tap, cook a pie, or tie a knot, YouTube is your best bet, because it'll tell you how to do anything. So this is me having a go at a bowline knot. I think we've done a bowline. Right, so we've got 2 bowlines on that now. So from what I understand, the bowline, the more weight you have on, it just tightens up and becomes more secure. So there you go. So we've got a fair bit of rope. Next thing now is to lower cock into the shaft. Right, you ready?
Yep.
From this side, John. There. Give it a go. Ooh, look at John. It's a bit of a tight squeeze. This is going to be problematic. The top of that shaft is probably wider than what it actually looks. There's old boards over it, very rotten old boards. So I need to try and get cock rover in vertically down the small hole and lower it down. It's going to be quite a challenge, but I'm not going on the other side of the fence because I just don't trust that at all. So I'm staying on this side where it's safe. And problematic it was. This was a swine to try and get it in there. I've done this, you know, if you've got an open shaft it's easy, but trying to get it down that hole and not stand on the other side of the fence was so difficult, because I wasn't standing over that area, because as you can see it's just boards. Now if you're going to suggest other methods, we didn't have any other methods. We couldn't erect a scaffold over it or a little triangular frame. We just didn't have that gear. We were just chances trying to take a look inside this shaft. What I did was, in the end, I managed to get it over the little hole, cock it vertically and then lower it in. Getting it out was going to be equally problematic. So in a moment we're going to flick over to cock cam, and you'll see after many tries I did manage to get that upright angle to get it just through the hole and into the shaft. I did end up having to sit on the fence, but finally we got the view we wanted to.
It's going to be hard, but you know, facing that way, like. That way? Yeah, do you know, like, instead of going lengthways, go the other way.
I don't know whether the camera is now facing that way. It's just hanging there now. Okay, so I've now gone to slow motion to slow down the spinning, otherwise you're just going to get dizzy. The heavy breathing sort of noise you can hear is just the rope scraping on the side of the boards as we go down. But let's see what it's like. This is about as good as it gets. Right, it feels, what you got to remember is I'm up top not knowing what the hell is going on. It feels like it's hit the bottom. It clearly hasn't done, and I think, right, we've hit the bottom, let's come back up. So my apologies that we never got anywhere near the bottom, but what happened I don't know. It felt like I'd hit something, but we could only do this once, as you'll see when we try and get the thing out. Okay, so we're now bringing it out of the shaft. So you'll see the spinning, how fast it spun round. So I'm sorry if it's making you dizzy, but I was gutted that it spun round, absolutely gutted. And of course we get to the top of the shaft and we're now fast underneath the boards and underneath the metal grill. This went on for about 15 minutes trying to get it out. Sort of yanking it, trying to cock it up vertically again to try and get it out. I knew it was going to be a pain to get out. Obviously the temptation to go and get hold of it is incredible, but you cannot do it. You just cannot get hold of the thing and drag it out because you're going down that shaft if you do. Okay, I've cut a load out there because this just goes on and on and on. About, you know, we're about 10 minutes in now and I'm still trying to cock it to one side to get it out. Beautiful bit of brickwork there, as you can see, but it just goes on, and I just thought, if I don't get this out, I have lost all the footage and the whole thing has been a complete waste of time. So by now I'm starting to panic, because try as I may, this ain't coming out. But you can see how the danger of the shaft, God knows how deep it is. Now in a minute we're going to lose one of the lights and you'll see it drop to the bottom. So as we stare into the depths of that dark, deep shaft, it's probably a fitting backdrop for the story I'm about to tell you. As with all these mines, there were deaths and people lost their lives. At around 10:30 AM on Friday the 27th of May 1887, a collier by the name of William Ashworth, a resident of Lady House Lane, which is still there local in the area, he was down there and he noticed a slight trickle of water coming from the roof in one of the shafts where he was hewing coal. His son, John William, who worked with him in the mine, sounded the roof. I presume that just meant just checking it out. And he told his father that he thought it was unsafe. The two men were in the process of fitting a prop underneath the roof when a sudden deluge of water burst through the roof and engulfed them both. William and his son were washed along the length of the mine for a distance of around 30 yards by the torrent of water. John was able to grab onto another mine prop and was able to raise the alarm. William managed to raise himself to his feet and both were able to make their way to the mouth of the pit along with a number of other colliers. There was relief amongst the men until the realisation dawned that 3 men were missing. The 3 missing men were 41-year-old James Mills, a collier from Butterworth Hall, 38-year-old Thomas Schofield, a collier of number 4 The Huff in Neway, and 18-year-old Michael Kenny, a collier also from The Huff. The 3 men were working in the lower part of the mine, and a rescue party was sent in to look for them. The water was extremely deep, and where they were thought to have been, the rescuers soon realised that nobody could have survived. So there you go. tragedy at the mine. And there goes the light. Now the annoying thing is, you see it hit the bottom, and yet when I went in with Cockrover, I never managed to get that far down, and I don't understand. Whether it's just very, very bright light and it's gone much deeper than what we think, not sure. But anyway, will we get this thing out of this bloody shaft? Finally, we managed it. The relief. I've lost the light. Yeah. I thought I weren't getting it out for a bit there then. It got fast underneath the boards and everything. It's just took us, I've cut it all out, it's just took us about, what, 14 minutes to get it out. So... Okay, I'll just take a pause there. Cockrover normally works great when you can see the side of the shaft. You can lean over and roll it down the wall of the shaft. Unusual circumstances, we had to enter into the middle of the shaft. That's why we ended up with it spinning. It wouldn't normally be like that. It was, like I say, it's not designed to go into the middle of the shaft. So I apologise for the spinny footage, but at least we got a glimpse into this thing and took a quick look at it. Normally Cockrover works quite well. I designed it. But on a serious note, looking down there, you get to see the depths and the horror where those men died, and all the miners that died in these tragedies. You sort of see where they worked, and it was absolutely horrendous. And the other interesting thing is that the shaft wasn't flooded. Quite often these mine workings are flooded, so it suggests to me that somewhere there's an adit that is allowing the water to drain away. But we are on a hillside here, so I think there's an adit somewhere draining it. GoPro out. So this was that was another one of John's finds, so we're grateful for John. He knows this local area, so he knows all the little hidden gems around here. As you could see, it spun, so not ideal. I'm going to try and, we've just watched it on the back of the GoPro, I'm going to try and slow it down for you. I had to film in 24 frames per second, if that means anything to anyone, so it won't make brilliant slow motion footage, but as you're looking at it in real time, you just go dizzy. And I thought we got to the bottom, it seemed to go thud as it hit the bottom, but it didn't, incredibly. I think we went down a good, what do you reckon?
I reckon about 150 feet.
Maybe, yeah, 100 feet plus, 100 foot plus, I don't know, we're not measuring it, but just interesting that sort of thing is up here, derelict up here on the moors, incredibly dangerous. Fortunately it's fenced off, and we did all the rope work from the other side of the fence. It was a bit of a, with the gap being so narrow, it was a bit of a swine to get Cockrover through the gap and then get it back out. In fact, we struggled for about 15 minutes getting it out, because you just can't, you want to go down and just go and get hold of it, but you can't because it's too dangerous. So there you go, just a little bit of a gem for you up here on the moors, an interesting old mine shaft. So, John, knowing this area really well, he had another little gem up his sleeve for us. So on we walked away from the mine shaft, just over the hill, to look at a very strange curiosity. Take a look at this. Just as the light's failing, we've got another one of John's little gems here. What were these, John? Just soul cellars or something? Was it a building?
Apparently they're storage cellars.
Right.
Built to about 1800s, I believe.
Old cellars. Old cellars from the 1800s. Can't get any more of that. Might have to look on the map and see if it brings anything up at what was here. Beautiful bit of an arch there. James, you going in? You got the torch?
I'll get one.
Get the torch out. We'll go in. If we go the other side of this, the other side over there, there's some steps down into them. We'll take a look, eh? Should we send James in first with the torch? Ooh, steps.
Right, going in.
What's it like?
It's cool. Proper grand design.
Ooh, dodgy, dodgy, dodgy. Wow.
Oh. How long ago do you think these would have been built?
Oh, long time, 1800s. Nice bit of a look at that arch, lovely. Must have been a house, mustn't it?
Yeah.
What's in there? Walk you through there.
There's stuff going, isn't it?
Yeah. So what do we know about this place? Well, not a lot. Earlier you saw a bit of the ruins of an old farmhouse, but this is what we've got, and this is taken from what looks like a local guide to the area published by Rochdale Council. Binns Ruin. Binns is an area of mixed ruins which date back to the 13th and 15th centuries. Obviously a very old inhabited site. Records have shown that as early as 1610, Geoffrey Turnow, yeoman, lived there. A large farming community with the barns, outbuildings and cellars developed over the years. The surrounding fields grew rye, wheat and barley and an assortment of root crops, which were used to feed the animals in winter. In 1857, John Skelton bought Binns, the Shippons and 2 cottages, but Oldham Corporation compulsory purchased the property for the sum of £2,430 in 1867 when the reservoirs were constructed. So a very old farming community that's been up here for many years. These possibly stored those crops for the animals and for the people. I'm at the limits of what I know here. I can't date them, and I presume they were just for a storage facility. But what a fascinating little find out here. Just do away with it a minute. That's it. Nice bit of brickwork there, up there. Nice arch.
So do you think they kept stuff in this?
Well, John's saying that, yeah.
Yeah, the base it's not so American. The base on an American design. I can't remember the name of the. What we'll do, Matt, I'll send it on tonight.
Right.
Got a full.
Good that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Proper surprising that it's just here, isn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't think you'd walk past that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you got curry on yours?
Yeah.
Oh, nice one. I've got gravy. James?
Yeah.
Fish and chips, how'd you rate it?
Fish was
Fish,
lovely.
marks out of 10?
I'd say 8 or 9 out of 10.
For the fish. Chips?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. Chips were slightly overdone, but it was nice. You had curry?
Fit.
Gravy? Pretty good. We're just by Hollingworth Lake here, if you know it. Anyway, so as per usual, short days. We need to do a sign out in the dark. We drove off the moor, had fish and chips, it's gone dark.
Yeah.
Anyway, a couple of interesting things for you on the moor there. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, take care. See you in the next one, bye for now.
See you in a bit. That was alright.
Yeah.
It gives it some ambience.
Ambiance.
I just learned that word.
Ambiance.